Hello everyone, welcome to this After Effects demo. Today we'll be mainly focusing on the basics for After Effects. With After Effects, you're given kind of a wide range of effects and tools that you can use for a variety of visual effects, as well as creating like motion graphics. For this video, we're only going to focus on kind of the building blocks and the basics for After Effects. We're going to take a video and we're going to add little effects to it, like snowfall and color corrections. So without further ado, we're going to just jump straight into it. When you launch After Effects, you should be kind of greeted with this window, which will kind of have your projects down here, like your most recent projects if you have any, and they'll have banners here kind of highlighting some of their new features that you can also have access to. So if you want to create a new project, you can just come over here to New Project, and now you're going to have this sort of window here. Down here is going to be your timeline where you're going to make most of your adjustments, and here is usually where your video will play, and here are usually kind of your various windows. Here, your property panel here, your effects controls here, and whenever you want to start a new project, you can just drag and drop your video. So for me, I'm going to just drag and drop it here, and then take it from here and put it down here, and now if you hit spacebar, your video will play. If for whatever reason your video has sound and you don't want it to have sound, you can just click the little speaker icon right here, and then it'll remove all the sound that's on the video itself. Same thing with this little eyeball here. If once we have some layers on, if you click the eyeball, it'll make the layer you have selected disappear, and you just click on it again to make it reappear. Okay, so for this video, we're going to be adding 2 additional layers. The first layer will hold our snowfall effect, and the second layer will hold our color correction. It's important to note that whenever you add layers, the sequence they're in usually affects the one underneath it. So we want our video layer to be at the very bottom and our snowfall to be the second layer, and in between this, the video layer, and the top layer, which will be the color correction layer. The reason we want to do it that way is because then our color correction layer will affect every layer underneath it, and you don't have to worry about like a mix match or certain layers not affecting others. So always remember to keep your order. Your bottom layer will have more or less all the effects of the layers above, unless otherwise specified. So to add a new layer, you can just hit right click, new, and adjustment layer, and again making sure the adjustment layer is above the video layer. And now we can add our first effect. With this layer selected, we go over to effect, and we go to simulation, and as you can see, you kind of give a wide range of variety of different effects you can add. For this, we're just going to focus on snowfall, so that was CC snowfall. And if you were to click play on the video as it is, you can kind of see those little snowflake particles kind of falling around. And here in the effects panel, now we have access to added control on that specific effect. So we can increase the size, and to increase or decrease the size, you can click on it and enter a number manually, or you can kind of just hover over the number and it'll give you access to a little slider. And if you hold down left click, you can drag it to the right or to the left, and going to the right will increase it, going to the left will decrease it. For this video, I'm going to mainly focus on increasing just to make everything more visible. So I'll leave that there. So this will kind of increase the number of flicks that come down, and I'm going to increase the size of them to make them more visible. Let's see, I'm going to go kind of extreme just so they're a lot more visible. So I think that's pretty good. And with this effects panel right here, you kind of give access to a bunch of different variations you can add. You can add variations to the size. You can increase the speed in which they fall, the variation of the speed. Same thing with the wind. You can add wind, add the speed for the wind, add variation of the wind. You can also change the color of the snow, but for the most part, like this is just the bare bones. So we're mainly gonna just increase the size of the flakes, maybe the variation a little bit percentage, and add a little bit of wind. As you can see, the effects are all there in my effects panel. If for whatever reason like you want to see what it looks like without them, again you can just kind of cover over this eyeball in the corner and it'll take off the effect. Just click on it again. There it is. Okay, now we're gonna add our last adjustment layer. So again, you're gonna right click, new, and adjustment layer, and now we have our final layer, which is the very top, and this is going to be our color correction layer. So while having this layer selected again, we're going to go to Effect, Color Correction, and we're going to go to Lumetri Color. again, now we have our new properties panel for our effects. So we're going to go to kind of basic correction. And as you can see, you kind of have access to a bunch of different effects here that mainly have to do with like the light and some of the color. Again, because color correction layer. So any of these light ones are mainly to kind of highlight your figure more. If you feel your scene is too dark or you want it to be darker, vice versa. You can just make changes here to like exposure, whites, blacks, shadows, highlights, if you want to increase those effects. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to change the temperature, and I want to decrease it. So again, I'm going to hover over the number and the slider strip here, and I'm going to drag it to the left. As you see, as I drag more to the left, the whole video kind of turns more bluish. So I'll put it around there. And if I press play, you can see like just kind of, adding and removing the effect. You can kind of see the difference there. So I'm also gonna just reduce saturation just a little bit, maybe there for now. And again, when you're making these effects, you should kind of expect to kind of bounce back and forth and kind of, you make one change and you're like, oh, well, maybe I want it to, maybe it's too dark now. I want to change the exposure to kind of highlight the squirrel a little bit more. You can just bounce back and just go here, then just make the effect. Just always make sure you have the effect you want to edit selected. So for here, color correction is this top one. And for now, that's all the changes I'm going to make here. So I'm going to reduce this one. I'm going to go over here to creative. And under creative, right here on look, I'm going to look for SL Matrix Blue. Should be down here somewhere. Here it is. And from here, you can see the whole video got very blue. So you can reduce the intensity or the saturation. I'm going to start with the saturation a little bit. And then just for me, I'm going to reduce intensity just a bit too. Something like that. Maybe reduce saturation a little more. And depending on what you're going for, like as you can see, the whole video is kind of taking this kind of like sort of faded film look, this old school film look. So you're going to increase that by like adding this, you have like an adjustment effect right here, which is faded film. And you can increase it this way, and it'll kind of add to that sort of ambiance if you want to add to that. And for the most part, yeah, that's basically it. You can keep kind of like I said, bouncing back and forth and adjusting the effects as you see fit. Like if you want, like I said, if it's kind of too dark for you, you can kind of go here and adjust the exposure. As you can see, it like barely moved in. It became way brighter. And if I do like Control Z, it'll go back to how it was. And yeah, this more or less highlights all the basics for this. And thank you for watching.